I like doing things with one hand, and I shouldn't because I'm bad at it. Hey, W here. Welcome to my channel, to my workshop, and to my worktop. As you can see, my 3D printer is already on the table here, partially assembled. I've been doing various things to it, some maintenance and some repairs. Some things were broken and some just needed, a little TLC. This video is about something that broke. And actually needs replacement. Specifically, that's something broken, not just maintenance. Right in front of us here is the extruder, and I am actually replacing that today. I don't know if you know this, if you're a Creality Ender owner or owner of a printer with a similar extruder, plastic extruder, you may know this. The arm, this plastic extruder arm, has a tendency to break, and that's exactly what happened to mine. So I'm replacing the extruder, and presumably that's fairly simple. Of course, having to replace it, I'm going to put on an all metal one. So I have one here, and I'm just gonna go at this because, like I said, it doesn't actually look like it's that complicated. It should be fairly straightforward. I know those are famous last words, but let's see if I can't actually manage to succeed at this. First, of course, I should get the old extruder off. Let's see, is that the... No, I need a smaller hex key. There we go. And let me see, all the screws are included with this one. So I'm just going to put the old screws off to the side. I don't think I'll need them. But then I'll just a minute. This screw, this is the tensioner screw for the spring. Oh, that's also too big. Just a second. There, that's the wrong one. This one. That's the tension screw for the spring, the arm spring. And it's in the way. I can't get the mounting screw off without removing this. That's it. And now I can get this out of the way. And the last one, there we go. Off with the old extruder. There's some dust and debris here. A little bit of lube as well. Which probably spilled over from lubricating this bearing for the C screw. There we are. And of course I need to get this wheel off as well, and oops, there was one thing I forgot. Yeah, the motor falls off when you do that. Anyway, I need a very small hex key to get the grub screws out. Do you know this feeling of satisfaction when you select the correct hex key the first time? Or is that just me? Yeah, let's loosen that. And the secondary. The primary is the one that's on the flat part. Get rid of that. So the old extruder is gone, off to the side there, and I basically just have to put on the new one. It goes on like that. It's a lovely red color, right? I like that. And it's, like I said, all metal, so it's supposedly a lot more durable. I should use the bin for these parts. I don't want them to run off on me. There is a countersunk screw and there's a countersunk hole. Oops. So I'm gonna go out on a limb. Wait a minute, there are two countersunk screws. Just make sure they're the same, because if they aren't, they are not. I'm going to assume this is the long one, because it goes through all of this. I think that one. Yeah, that's definitely on the short side. I'm going to use the long one, and then we'll find out later if I was wrong. I don't know. If you've watched any of these videos on my channel, if you've watched any of my videos, you would notice that I am clumsy, but that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you have watched any of my videos, you will notice that I tend to go on intuition a lot. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm not proud of it, nor am I ashamed. That's just the way I work. I try to go by what seems right. And then I just accept that I may have to, perform a few do-overs if it turns out that my intuition was incorrect. I live with it. And sometimes I even learn. Go in there. You'll notice that I haven't tightened them that much, and that's because I just want to make sure they're all in their correct holes before. There we go. There we go. And now I'm tightening them a little bit, properly. I'm tightening them properly. Enough, as much as I can without breaking this. Okay, so that's the body of it. This is how the arm goes on. Oops. It goes on like so. Oops, that was the wrong size. There we go. Slightly beefier screw, and that makes sense. Because this is the pivot screw. This is where a lot of the pressure is going to be on it. Oh, wait a minute. Like I said, intuition can sometimes be wrong. It gets me ahead of myself sometimes. It really does. Because obviously, this is the pulley wheel that presses against the filament, and I'm just putting that on first. That's also a little beefier. That's a little beefier still, because it also takes a lot of pressure. And there's a bearing. I can tighten this because obviously there's a bearing so that this runs anyway. I'm not tightening that. Okay, let's put this on again. I didn't make a mistake like I thought I did. I actually thought, for some reason, I thought the screw was coming in from the other side. I don't know why. And again, this one tightens fairly because it pivots around here. Oh, I made a mistake. Have you caught my mistake? Ooh, I'm pausing for suspense here, huh? I forgot to put this on. I'll just loosen these two grub screws. Maybe I didn't need to disassemble the whole thing. We're about to find out. There we are. Put this back in here. Tighten. 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 Put this on. Tighten. There we go. Actually, I think I can. I can adjust this tooth wheel, or the knurled wheel here, without taking the whole thing off, which is good because I have to. First I loosen the secondary, and then I loosen the primary, because I need to lift it a little bit, because the hole is there. Yeah. There we go. Tighten that one. And tighten the secondary. There we go. And now all that's missing is for the spring to go on. Ah, okay. It is kicking my butt a little bit here. So for anyone doing this, remember, before putting the arm on, put a screw in this screw hole here. You'll know in a moment what it does. It's actually fairly clever. Put a screw in that screw hole and then put it on. Because the final thing that needs to happen is the spring goes on that screw that I just put in. Just squeeze the screw in, or the spring in, and then the final screw, this screw, the last of those of the pan head, goes in here, because that's what keeps the spring from sliding off to the side and falling off. And that's it. A lovely all-metal extruder. That's firm. Feels good. Feels good. And the last thing that I should do is I'm going to replace the Bowden coupler here. See if I can get that out. There we go. The old Bowden coupler, and put in a new Bowden coupler. Seat that as deep as I can get, and put the C-clamp on, and then tighten it back in. That was actually the final piece of repair that this 3D printer needed. So I'm going to reassemble it now. Old busted plastic extruder replaced by a new lovely metal aftermarket part. By the way, I think it's called an MK8. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to find one of these. I'll leave a link to where I got it, and you can see what kind it is. But that's it. Thank you so much for hanging around with me and watching me fumble my way through these repairs. And if you're a beginner, this is very much for you, because I am, and I like to know that other people are just as bad at things as I am. So maybe you feel the same, and if you do, I'm glad. Either way, I'm happy you stopped by. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.